Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, which is a show where we talk about, well, literature in whatever form it takes. So I'm Austin, and I use the pronouns he, him, his, and himself, and hopefully you've seen some of my videos before. If not, welcome. And first off today, I kind of want to wish everybody a happy June. I'm going to be doing some videos this month, all throughout June, because June is LGBTQ Pride Month, and I'm very excited to be talking about some of my favorite LGBTQ focused books, or books written by LGBTQ people, or things like that. We'll kind of see what goes on as the month goes on, but I'm really excited that y'all are here, and this is really important to me because what really I've been reading for a long time, but what really got me into literature and kept me reading when I was a teenager was reading a lot of gay-themed YA books. So today, really what I want to talk about is one of my favorite gay YA authors who really got me into reading and really made me stay interested in it as I grew up and became a teenager, and still to this day, when he has new books come out, I like to read them, although they aren't all the best, to be honest. So today I want to talk about the works of David Levithan. He's just one of my favorite authors. He was really important to me as a teenager, reading his books. His books were some of the first ones that I thought that I saw myself in fully, and I just hold a special place for him in my heart. So I want to talk about some of my favorite books of his. Some of them I own, but I didn't feel like looking through my room and finding where they all are. But first book of his that I read, and is well, probably at least his most well-known book until recently, is Boy Meets Boy. It's a book that is incredibly important to me because it's really, I think, the first gay book or book with a gay main character that I read. It's just super important to me. It's a book that I've read multiple times. Sometimes if I'm having a bad day, I'll go back and read it because it's super light and fluffy and just really, really cute. And I think another thing that's really important with it is it was a book aimed at gay teenagers and gay young adults that just was all about positivity. It wasn't about, oh, look at the struggles that this main character has. It's really hard to be LGBTQ in today's world. It wasn't about that. It was about, hey, here's a main character who has the same struggles as everybody else, and he's out, and everyone's cool with it, and, you know, he falls in love. And it kind of gave a lot of hope for kids like me, I think, who were in that position, who thought that life would be really difficult. And yeah, it is, but you know, reading a book like that wasn't all about that doom and gloom was really hopeful to me. And also there are some characters who deal with a lot of issues related to their sexual orientation or gender identity in the book, but the book itself just, I think it deals with it in such a great way, and it's so joyous and so powerful. So that's really important to me. Another book, which I think might have been the next book of his actually that I read, which I think some people consider like the spiritual successor of this book, or spiritual sequel, or whatever they will call it, is Wide Awake. It's a book that follows, what happens is it's the first time an openly gay man, I believe the first time a Jewish man in this universe, gets elected to be president of the United States, and it's about a young adult, I forget his name, I haven't read it in a while, but it's about him kind of following along this campaign and celebrating the election of this man to be president of the United States. Well, it's very joyous and powerful, kind of like Boy Meets Boy, but it also creates a lot of hope for the future, and I think that that's something that is really fitting right now for a lot of folks, specifically a lot of LGBTQ teenagers who have a lot of fear about politics right now in the country and abroad. So I think it's sometimes can be really bleak to be a queer, trans, gender nonconforming, or etc. teen. And I think that this book does a really great job of kind of being hopeful and looking to the future. So I think that's a really great book that was really important for me, and I think is really important for folks to today to read as well. So I hope that with everything going on in this world, Wide Awake can kind of have a resurgence. But another one of his books is called The Realm of Possibility. It's a really important book to me because it well, I know I keep saying that all those books are kind of important to me, but it was really cool because it's a book of all poetry, and it's written. Each poem is written by a different character in this high school, and what's really cool is as you read them, you see how each of them connect to each other. This is a book that I think allowed me to kind of read poetry over and over to get different interpretations of it, and it was also something that was accessible. It wasn't like it was, you know, really hard to understand. There weren't crazy, you know, rhythms or language that's, you know, beyond my time. So it's a book that was really cool to me in that way, but also it's really cool because it deals with queer concepts. In some ways, it's cool because it queers the idea of poetry, and by looking at all these poems are written by different people and they're connected to each other, so it really talks about queer concepts in a queer way, which is something I've grown to really like. I read a lot of weird fiction and weird poetry because I love the idea of queering the art form itself, not just making the art form about queer topics, but queering the form itself is really cool to me. And this book, I think, did that for me at a young age, kind of understanding that. And also, I like that it talked about queer issues in a way that just made them part of this whole story. It wasn't necessarily the focus. You know, I do love reading books where a gay, trans, or gender nonconforming character, or bi or queer or any other identity, in the LGBTQ umbrella, is kind of the topic of those books. But also, I really like that this book put queer characters in a story that it wasn't just about the fact that they were queer. It was about this whole story of this high school, and I thought that was just something that was really cool. There's a lot of other books of his that are super important. Nicanor's Infinite Playlist, written with Rachel Cohn, was a book that's really important to me. I believe I talked about that in another video. If not, it's an amazing book. The movie's hilarious. The book is even funnier, so go read it and watch it and, you know, enjoy it. But another really important book, and this is one of his more recent ones, that is super important to me, is called Every Day. What's amazing about this book is that it talks about queer issues. It talks about issues of sexual orientation. It talks about issues of gender identity. It talks about issues of gender expression by having the main character be someone who wakes up in a different person's body every day. But at one point, this person, A is their name, they end up waking up in the body of this boy who is dating this girl. Her name is Rhiannon, and A falls in love with this girl. And then every day that A wakes up, they're still in love with the same girl. So it's really cool. It talks about, you know, sexual orientation. It talks about gender identity. It talks about gender fluidity in this way where it doesn't make this one, you know, character be somebody who says, hey, you know, this is how I identify. I identify as gender fluid or identify as gender queer, which would be really cool if that happened. But what it does is it takes this person who is in somebody else's body every day, but is the same person. So I think that for folks who are gender queer, gender fluid, etc., that can be really cool to kind of see parts of themselves in this character, even if they don't, you know, get the amazingness of seeing that language and that exact identity being reflected. But it's really cool. It also deals a lot with the idea of changing identity when you're a teenager and stuff like that, so it's really important on a lot of levels. But yeah, it's, in my opinion, probably his greatest book right now. I think critics of his agree that it's probably the greatest book he's written, and it's just really awesome. So thanks so much for watching this video. I promise that my future videos aren't going to just focus on one specific author or whatever. They're going to be more varied, but it's just really important to me to do a video about David Levithan because he's meant so much to me growing up as a queer person, and I'm just a really big fan of his books and his work. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep on the lookout for my videos throughout the rest of the month. I'll be talking about a lot of different LGBTQ topics in literature, and I'm really excited for it. I plan on hitting different identities within the community. I also plan on hitting kind of different time periods in literature, so definitely keep watching. I hope you enjoy and have a wonderful day, all right? And spread the pride, y'all.